this utter hot mess of the government. Like I tried to just, like day one, you know what? I'm just gonna ignore it. I'm gonna drive my truck. I'm gonna listen to a couple of audiobooks and some podcasts, and then like both of my cell phones, bing, 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 whatever. So I had to participate in a little bit and caught up with one of the organizers for a couple of hours. So it was a great day. And yeah, so much to talk about. It's so glorious. It's as bad as I thought it would be, and even worse in some cases for the government. And it's absolutely entertaining. And I just want to say to everybody who's coming in, so you're all coming in right now, I want to first start on, starting from that positive frame, and just wish you all a good morning and a very positive morning. And yesterday was another example of how you think a day could go wrong, but amazing things happened. And that's why it's always good to be in that positive frame and not get bogged down with, what could happen that's negative and potential, all that sort of stuff. So for those of you who are new here, this is or people watching in the future, this is the Freedom Coffee live stream, where we celebrate the freedoms that we have, and it looks like we're going to get a hell of a lot more freedoms in the future with this disaster of a commission for the government, is what I mean. For the government, it's a disaster. Now, it's always going to start that way because because of the order of questioning. So they're questioning these people are, I guess, on the other side of the debate first, but I know that's how I felt. What about you? Did anybody else see any hot messes yesterday? It was so amazing. The people there, they're so in over their heads. They have no idea what they got themselves into. And that's kind of the arrogance of people in government or certain activists. It's just kind of like, all right, yeah, you know what your problem is? Your hubris, because that's what's going to destroy you. Before I start, just I have a question. So I have the book cover, the front and the back cover, which are both relevant. And I'm trying to think, when should I release it? Because the pre-launch is going to be on October the 21st, so next Friday, if all goes well, and I think it will. The team is on pace to release on time. So if it's going to release on the 21st, should I release I was going to do it late last night, but I didn't get home till late, so So should I leave it Monday? Maybe tomorrow night. How about tomorrow night? I'm going to release the picture and the thank you to the person who did the endorsement, and carry us over till Sunday. Till Friday, when, if all goes well, the links will be up and you'll be able to pre-order the book, and it'll be coming. You'll be getting it. I'm not going to tell you the date just yet, but you'll get it before the end of the commission. How's that? Okay. Anyways, Beth says it's all hearsay, not admissible in court. How is this allowed? Oh yeah, well, because it's not a court, right? I'm gonna get on to Sexy Lee's testimony, which is hysterical. We'll talk about that after. So I started yesterday. I was down in New York. And I did a little a video on TikTok and on Instagram, because I'm told that's what I should be doing. And just to say that the book launch event that we've all been excited for has already been canceled. Now, don't worry, we're trying to figure out another venue, and we have venues that are interested in whatever. But it seems that we're looking for an alternative now, because the venue was under political intimidation. I don't want to get into the details of how that is, but there's other businesses, BIAs, all that sort of stuff. And they got just a spike in calls of threats of vandalism and violence and all that sort of stuff. And I don't want, any business that's not comfortable. Like, I get it, it's fine. And but it just goes to show, in my riding where I live, I'm going to have to use this sort of language. I apologize. But the piece of shit communist who is our city councilor, her name is Paula Fletcher, she was the head of the Communist Party in Canada. So when people in the Danforth are, concerned about, businesses dying, you deserve it. You deserve it because you elect a fucking communist as your city councilor, and you keep electing her. Like, what is wrong with you? Anyways, I love you all, but really, people don't understand. There's repercussions for who they vote for, and so there's no wonder that I was going to do the venue in the area where a communist is the city councilor, a communist who's known. They use all the communist smear tactics. They used it against me when I ran for the Conservatives here. It was so hysterical. You could see it was her staffers. We knew the staffers in her office going onto Twitter and just smearing people. It was because that's their political philosophy and ideology. That's all they have is smear people and take everybody's shit. That's all they do. So, anyways, So if you're in Danforth and you vote for that deadbeat communist, you deserve everything you're gonna get. Anyways, so repeated threats of vandalism and violence and all that sort of stuff. So we're going to get an alternative, and we have a bunch of a number of people that have reached out and have venues or friends who have venues. I even got a call from some people in Florida connected to some people that people will get very upset over that would like us to do a book launch there. And it's kind of like, well, do I have to go to Florida to do a book launch for an event in Canada? Maybe. I mean, it'll be warmer, but we'll see. We're going to try to keep it here because I know you guys have all supported us and came here and all that sort of stuff. And also may do something in Ottawa when I go to testify. So we're looking at having a smaller little get-together around the book and talk about it and all of us to meet face-to-face because I want to sit down and I want to have drinks with you and hang out with you, and let's order some nachos and chill and just get to know each other face to face. Like, it's one thing to know each other in the digital space, but it's I like this expression that I heard once, which is you don't really know somebody until you breathe the same air and you're with each other. So, anyways, Kathy's in Ottawa, so yeah, Kathy, we may have. If we have an event in Ottawa, like a little get-together before I testify, probably the night or 2 nights before, then let me know. Come join us. Alyssa, we have Andrea Horvath. Is she running for mayor in Hamilton? Pray for us. Oh, my God. Well, his career is over. Her career. Well, who knows, right? I don't know what her pronouns are. And I bet you if you ask Andrea Horvath, she doesn't know what a woman is. So who knows? Anyways, whatever. She's a disaster. She's out, and Jughead Singh will be. What's his name? Sellout Singh will be out pretty soon as well. Ottawa Gestapo popping in. Oh my God! Listen, if you're on Twitter, Ottawa Gestapo has got to be. I got to thank a friend of mine for getting him on my radar. Him, her, she, her. I don't know what your pronouns are, but Ottawa Gestapo, thank you very much for all the laughs and entertainment. I was in my truck yesterday, I have it on my dash, like right next to me. It's right next to my ELD, so you can see sometimes stuff pops up, and I got to tell you, man, they're amazing. Alyssa, I don't know, I like it. Why not it? In Spanish, it's kind of it. It's more it, so... But anyways, that's another issue. So we'll find out what the venue is going to be in Toronto, and if we do something in Ottawa as well, I will let you know. And but it's really funny that all of a sudden people are scared about this book that nobody's read. I mean, if you test readers have read it. I sent it to Jordan Peterson. I think he's read it. He's read it as well, and a few other influential people. But nobody's read it, and it's not terribly political. It's obviously talks about this dumpster fire that we're dealing with right now, the convoy, the EMAC. But I don't know. People are just really afraid of the truth. I mean, there are some people who should be afraid of the truth, and that's not specific to any political end of the landscape. But whatever. Hey, the truth is what it is. And what was that quote I saw yesterday? It was something like, "The truth may hurt in the short term, but a lie hurts forever." Something like that. So don't do Stephen King like that. Oh, Stephen King. Scott Adams had an amazing thing. It's like he's this amazing writer, but then you see him on Twitter, and my automatic reaction is the guy retarded? Like, how does somebody lacking such mental faculties, how is he such a strong writer? I don't know. It's just like it's complete disconnect from the person writing, almost as though there's somebody else writing for him. But anyways, before I get into the topic at hand, I also wanted to go just touch on something I did yesterday, the last time I did the stream, which was PayPal's mistake. And I gave the forgive the ignorance, but what book are you referring to, Andre? Andre, I'm referring to my book. I spent the past several months putting together a book based on what was going on behind the scenes during the Freedom Convoy and what we were dealing with, and which will give a lot of context to what you're seeing in this commission, actually. And it's also a book designed for those of you who have liberals in your family who are confused about the Freedom Convoy. They'll be able to reach it and read it and walk away and think, wow, I can't believe what I believed before. So it should be a good persuasion tool for a lot of you. But anyways, I mentioned PayPal. Remember that PayPal, they said they issued a mistake and that they would seize $2,500 from you and just at will. And I explained that that could just be a lot of inside corporate incompetence. We've all dealt with that. Those of us who've worked in large corporations and companies, we know how disorganized people are, and the analogy I saw from Scott was, and I understand where he's going from, and he's got a solid point, which was, this is how it works. One lawyer deals with the terms of services, and somebody, sends him an email message, you have to incorporate something for ESG. He doesn't know what the hell ESG is, so he looks it up. ESG, okay, fine. All right, we'll just sneak this policy in there. Nobody reads it anyways. Who cares? And then it goes to his boss, and his boss doesn't even read it. Says, did you put it in there? Yeah, you dealt with ESG. Okay, did you do it in a way that doesn't really affect you? Yeah, I did. And doesn't read it and says, okay, fine, and approves it, and it gets through, and then somebody actually finally reads the terms of services. I think that's his argument, and that's what I argued last time, and I agree with it. And now I'm going to argue the other side, and there's a reason for this. So all of what I just said, I think still rings true, that, it could very well be incompetence. But there's a few lingering things in the back of my mind. They deplatformed the Free Speech Union in the United Kingdom. No explanation. Just, you're a bunch of racist bigots, whatever, deplatformed them. Then they deplatformed, I don't know what I can call them on YouTube now. I think they're now calling themselves Gays Against Broomers as a joke, which is brilliant. So PayPal deplatformed them as well. And the other thing, there's one third point that PayPal did not say in their apology. What did they not say? It's the analogy that people like Scott and others talk about, the dog that's not barking. What did PayPal not say in their apology when they said it was a mistake? They said, or should I say they didn't say, and we will never do that. They didn't say that. So they've deplatformed two organizations, which seems to be based on political bias. And they also didn't assure everybody, we apologize, and by the way, we would never do that. They didn't say that. So I love when people just send random messages, call me. I get this from the media all the time. So like in my email filter, I have a phrase in my filter that it says, I'm a reporter with. Any email like that automatically goes to the trash. So what they do is they get my text messages. This is happening all through the convoy. Somebody, the CBC got my text. They were the first ones. It was some program called The National. I don't know, fake news something. And they sent me a message over TNT, over a text message. And they don't say, hey, this is from Sanjay Gupta or whatever his name was, from the National. It's, hi, how are you? And I'm like, what the fuck's this guy? How are you? I don't know who this is. And they do that constantly. That's always done by journalists in the media. It's just, hi, hey, call me. Like, I don't know who you are. Delete, block, never calling you. And that's it. So that's how I was able, I think, in contrast to Tamara, we have a different style of dealing with people. I just, would close the door and say, okay, I'm not dealing with this. But Tamara's very open, and everybody can talk to her. And I remember telling her, like, Tamara, let's get you a handler, and you can't talk to everybody, right? And she's like, yeah, I know. She was under so much stress, so I can't really, she was constantly bombarded. It was difficult to make decisions for a lot of people during the convoy. We'll talk more about that moving forward. But anyways, let's get on to day one of the hot mess. So we saw testimony from Sexy Lee, is what I call her, Sexy Lee, who is clearly, there's a term in marketing called erotic equity, okay? The real term. Erotic equity is, oh my God, I have to block someone now. It's making me crazy. Let me just shut off the thing so it stops. It's supposed to stop buzzing. It's not supposed to be making noise. All right. So Sexy Lee gets up there, and if you notice, she is using all the manipulation tactics of a pretty bartender. She's making herself look pretty. She's speaking in a submissive tone. She's utilizing all the attributes one would use when they're trying to capitalize on erotic equity. Because it's a persuasion tactic. It's a manipulation tactic. It's designed to get you not to think about the content of what's being asked or what she's responding to, and just use visual persuasion of, here is this pretty, innocent girl who is the victim. They're always based on the victim. And she doesn't mention the video that was, I don't know if it was I don't think it was presented there, but I'm not sure, but it was all over online, of her randomly going up to truckers and swearing, fuck you, go fuck yourself, fuck you. That's this sweet, submissive girl, right? This sweet, innocent, submissive girl. It's good persuasion. It's actually very good. She does it pretty well, but you can tell she's young and inexperienced, because she crosses the line way too much. She goes overboard. And any woman can tell. This is why women are smarter than men sometimes in this sphere. They can see exactly what she's doing. They know exactly the manipulation tactic that she's using. So she is on the board of ACCT, some other. I guess it's another one of those NGO grifts that is all identity politics and, sowing division in society and based on race. So it's one of these racist, I guess it's a racist organization, I'm not sure. And they will, all these NGOs that are getting money from the government. So this organization that she's on the board for got $157,000 in government money from MP Marie Jolie, who she's the heritage minister at the time. So the heritage minister, she gets out of school, out of university, when most of us are, going to work at Starbucks and trying to get, make ends meet. She gets $157,000 to start some racialized NGO from a cabinet member. To start this political organization right out of university, and claims to not have ties to the Liberal Party. Really? It's like we don't have eyes? Like the rest of us don't know how the world works? Like, come on. So I was trying to think about things in my mind, like what could be going on behind the scenes, just kind of knowing how politics works and politicians work, and how everybody's, greasing each other's hands, and it as corrupt as you think it is, it's 1,000 times worse. And try to go through this thought exercise. Now let's do this thought exercise together, so you understand kind of where what I was thinking. And again, I'm not saying this is true. I don't know that this is true. Just based on the behavior of how the political class works, you got to ask the question. Maybe this is how it happened. So how could this have transpired? How could somebody fresh out of school, doesn't have a job, boom, they're getting 100, whatever. Well, is it somebody from within the Liberal Party who has contacts within her family, maybe, right? Because she apparently wouldn't talk about her biography and her family. She just says no. Okay, well, because it's not a court of law, so you can just say no that. Well, there's your red flags. Like, we know, for example, the Trudeau Foundation, once Trudeau got elected, started receiving millions of dollars from people who had ties to the CCP, right? That's become just a money laundering operation at this point, right? Not that any of these bureaucrats who are involved in the Freedom Convoy would have investigated that, because what do you want that for? Why would you do that, right? So I don't know. Maybe that's what went on. But the thought experiment is this, okay? So this is in the context of the Freedom Convoy and everything that's going on. Because there's other ancillary stuff that's going on right now. Did Jerry Nuts, that's what I call him, Jerry Nuts, did he call her directly? Because Jerry Nuts, also known as Trudeau's brain, was smart enough to understand that the money that was being donated to the Freedom Convoy, those were votes. And you know how he knows? It took Jerry Nuts 4 years to raise $40 million to get Prime Minister Blackface, the most racist person to hold office in Canadian history, to get $40 million he needed for the nomination to get Trudeau to become leader of the Liberal Party. And they did it without any help, well, very much help from the Liberal establishment. That's why they can do whatever they want. They're not beholden to anybody in the Liberal Party. And that's why there's nothing left of the Liberal Party. There's just 20 of them, right? Or 20, 30, what? It's a small group. By the way, some people in the Liberal Party have told me this, people who are disaffected with Trudeau and absolutely despise him and Jerry Nuts, right? So he was smart enough, Jerry Nuts was smart enough to understand that money was votes, and apparently that's why he wasn't sleeping at night, because he saw so much money coming in. Because $40 million it took him 4 years to get $40 million with the name brand Trudeau, which in Liberal circles for some reason has credibility, which I also don't understand. But okay, fine. Whereas the Freedom Convoy, the truckers, the working class truckers, in a period of 3 weeks, cumulatively, so if you put all the donations together, managed to get something like $23 million total, because there's 10 point something first in GoFundMe, and then there was, I think, 11 or $12 million in Give, Send, Go. Most of it was returned because of Doug Ford, by the way. Doug Ford putting an injunction, and people on the inside who wouldn't listen to me about setting up a Delaware Corp in the United States, but that's another story. We'll get to that one day. But he understood that those $23 million or $25 million, whatever it is, lots of money, in 3 weeks. So it took Jerry Nuts 4 years to get $40 million, but in 3 weeks, we gathered almost $25 million, because that was the official opposition. Right? We know it's becoming the uniparty, and there are people on the inside of the conservative parties trying to push back against that. Somebody who's fully in bed as the uniparty would be Doug Ford. That's an example. So yeah, Jerry Nuts understood that, but so did the entire political class. They all knew that as well. They all understood that. And was this an effort to do anything they could to ensure that no truckers got a dime? That's what it was. And were there people affiliated with other political parties, like Doug Ford, doing everything they could to ensure that no truckers got a dime, right? Because it's their money. This is political money. This is donation money. This is the grift. I think this might be at the heart of why so much strangeness has been going on behind the scenes. You'll notice, despite the fact that I was front and center during the entire convoy, there's a number of, new news organizations and groups and whatever, doing whatever they can to water down the message as though I never existed. Why do you think that is? Could it be because I'm not beholden to any political party? Could it be that's why they tried to sneak by all the applications for the commission, hoping that I wouldn't get the opportunity to testify. And I guess they didn't anticipate I'll have a book at the same time. Oops! I promise my testimony is going to be entertaining for all of you. I promise. And all you're going to get is truth. I promise. No political bullshit and spin from me. It's just going to be the hardened truth. Anyways, so that's the first half, was Sexy Lee and her submissive language and looking all pretty, trying to persuade all of you that she's innocent. And it was so funny. She put a quote that I was, all the snow was yellow and brown from urination and defecation, and it was terrible. And there were just random, disgusting people around. And I'm like, you're describing San Francisco. Okay, do you like you don't like San Francisco? Like, I saw in Ottawa a bunch of truckers feeding the homeless, having barbecues, and shoveling the snow. And the three guys in the hot tub. If I could ever get to meet them, I would love to meet them, because that's the spirit that was there. So I don't know. I think this might have been a mass delusion on her part, or people in the political class are coaxing her to be a victim throughout this whole process. And I think it's going to combust spectacularly. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Kathy, I'm going to go through some comments. Hey, everybody. Hey, K9, what's up, everyone? Good morning. Don't know what you have having a live. Dang it. Total clown show. Yeah, it was. Politics needs to be cleaned out. All the parties at this point are corrupt. Yeah, it's because it's the dirty money surrounding the parties. So, you know, when Harper was in power, he changed the laws that you can only contribute, what was it, $1,600 to a political party. So the big donors couldn't, persuade they still do through lobby groups. So now we have all these lobby firms that do it. But what do? They have people who are big donors to the deep pockets to the political parties. So what they'll do is they'll fund a different movement and kind of get people to gather around these artificial and superficial movements that really mean nothing, to water down kind of the real movement. That's what's been going on for the past several months. I'll talk more about that over the next little while. But first, you got to read the book. That'll give you a lot of insight. Agreed, politicians serve their own interest and their corporate masters. Well, I think what they're doing, I do have a little bit of sympathy because because I was a candidate and I understand kind of what they go through. When you're a candidate, sometimes the general public's not all that great to deal with either. I mean, I got all the time, you're a dirty politician, you're all the worst. I'm like, hey, dude, I just got involved because I thought, like, maybe I could help. But, okay, maybe I won't. I'll just do it once and that's it. There's so many reasons I didn't want to get back into it. Ryan, dude, plug your book in the testimony. Oh, yeah, no, I plan to. I have something special planned. It's going to be fun. And it's important because that book, I don't know what's happening in this hot mess, but that book is going to be accurate. It's going to be more accurate than anything that you're seeing during this commission. Okay, next, make sure you can name names if you remember them. Oh, I know everybody. I have everybody on a list. I'm organized. I have a whole list. I have a Kanban board, how everybody fits together and how it all works. The people who gave and did things on the convoy side for the good. Yeah, there were it was amazing. There's so many good people, right? And it was great this week to reconnect with some of the people I haven't spoken to since the convoy. Because, people get upset. They just want to get back to their own life and move on and just get away from it. But because it's become topical again, some of us start to reach out to each other. The hot tub was the best. The hot tub was amazing. I know somebody got angry at the hot tub, and I'm like, wow, you are suffering some mass cognitive dissonance thinking that, anyways, whatever. A lot longer than several months for sure. Yes, it will be. So there's going to be a lot. We'll talk more about that because I think we're going to talk about that topic on somewhat of a regular schedule because so much is going to come out that we're going to laugh at. The best part was, where's the, where was it? The guy who speaks perfect English but needs language to be contextualized in French. So it's not like he was, I don't know, from Chicoutimi, or he's from like rural Quebec and doesn't have a great grasp of English because nobody speaks English there. So I can sympathize with that. I would understand it. But the guy's Canadian English is more Canadian than mine. Yet all of a sudden, when he's asked a question, oh, I don't speak English, you have to ask me in French. Why? Okay, there's a couple things going on there. He knew that the lawyer that was questioning him was trying to get him to agree on definitions for certain words, because the lawyer is trying to establish the foundation of which they can have the debate, and that we agree on certain facts, the facts of definitions of words. But as I'm sure you all see, we've all been watching this for, when did it really start? I saw it on the campus 2012, 2013, that progressives and these modern communists like to change the definitions of words. Most recently, woman, right? They started initially with racism, right? Racism doesn't mean you hate somebody because of their race. In their world, racism means, what is it, power plus privilege is racism, some bullshit like that. And some people believe that nonsense and get sucked into that cult. So once you have a communist having to agree with you on the definition of words, and they know they're going to be dead in that argument if they agree to the words, then they cut it off, right? You see that often. They'll always change the topic. But you can't do that when you're going through a series of questions in a kind of pseudo legalistic platform like we're seeing with the commission. So how does he avoid this kind of a trap, but this trap of agreeing on the definition of words? I don't speak English. That's what he said. He said, I don't speak English. He's speaking perfect English and saying, I don't speak English. These are the people running the government. I don't know. And then he goes on to say, he said a bunch of really stupid things. I can't believe there are people with that low of an, I mean, not that low of an IQ, that level of deception, and they've been fallen into this extremist cult, that these kind of extremists are in our government. That should worry everybody. But then he goes on to explain that the trucks, something that pulls a trailer, transportation, the trucks were weapons. Now, I think maybe he doesn't speak English. The trucks were imposing. That was the idea, because trucks are big. They have presence. The people needed a voice, and the trucks are a great vehicle for that, because the political class can't ignore them, because they don't see large trucks gathered in mass around Parliament. So yes, they're imposing. Imposition does not equal weapon, but again, I guess he doesn't speak English. And if he doesn't speak English, what's he doing working for the government? He should be fired and terminated immediately, in my opinion. Just what a pathetic loser. Like, such a loser. So awesome. Yeah, Sonia. And his Twitter is all English. Yeah, exactly. I have a question. Sonia, this is very important. Does he have his pronouns on his Twitter profile? I want to know. That's very important. Does he know what his pronouns are in English? Maybe he doesn't know, right? What a sewer rat. Anyways, that's the swamp. This may have already been asked, but are the people testifying in the emergency sworn in before giving their testimony in court? I ask because I want to know that Trudeau and company can't weasel their way out directly answering truthfully. First thing, I don't know. I was told a few weeks ago that it's not under oath, but we might be. I'm not sure. I guess I'll find out as I get closer. But as we just saw, Howard, it doesn't matter. Because what's Trudeau going to say? You have to contextualize that in English because now I don't speak English. Like they're just going to go through this whole word thinking process of trying to redefine words so he doesn't have to answer questions. Trudeau's just going to get up there and say racist, bigot, Islamophobe, homophobe, white supremacist, blah, 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 blah. That's all he's going to do is try to triple down on that ineffective persuasion tactic. It affects when people. It's effective when you have credibility and people believe you, but it gets to a point where you no longer have credibility because it's too much repetition, And that's where Trudeau is at right now. And that's why he's a joke around the rest of the world. Okay, I got 23 minutes until I have to be with John, sitting down, going over the book. And yes, David, that was an excellent question, Howard. Thank you very much for that. Chris says, yes, they are. Swear on the Bible or affirmation. Oh, yeah, communists need affirmation. Yeah, maybe we'll give them a copy of Marx's book, and they can swear that in. Just something else I want to bring up that is important right now. Okay. We need to, something very important, and please, we need to ask other people around this. I'm going to get to the locals' questions from, hey, Chris Junkie, I just saw you there. What is the worst thing or the dumbest thing anyone can do around activism related to the Freedom Convoy right now? Like, what is the stupidest thing anyone could do right at this moment while the commission is going on, right? Because now this is where the government needs to prove that they didn't break the law. They're the ones who are under the magnifying glass. Okay. And it's not even a court, so it's not legally binding. But what is the worst thing that could happen? What's the stupidest thing that anybody can do? Any ideas? Any suggestions? I know there's a 20-second lag from when I asked the question. So anyways, the number one most stupid thing that anyone can do around the Freedom Convoy at this point in time, that's right, Kathy, anything. Anything. Don't do anything. No protesting, no convoys, no mass demonstrations around the convoy. I mean, the Freedom Movement's going every weekend, which is good. That's something separate. But around the Freedom Convoy itself, no convoys, no get-togethers, no extreme rhetoric around taking over the government or any of that sort of bullshit that none of these people actually believe in. None of that should be going on right now, because the government is under the microscope. Yet, much like before, where that ex-stripper who was LARPing as a retired cop was trying to bait people into doing another convoy in his motorhome or whatever, because he's deeply in debt and destitute right now. Now there's another group of misfits that they want to have some sort of event or a protest or a convoy or whatever, and like, just curb your enthusiasm is what they say. Just stop. Just chill. Right now, let's get through the clown show. And the clown show is going to have a report. There's two different worlds right now. There's the analog world, there's the political world. In the political world, the Trudeau regime, they're dead. They're a lame duck. They're no longer relevant. No government in the world wants to deal with them or wants to talk to them anymore. So why give them credibility? The one thing they need is a boogeyman to see, that's what the convoy was. They have nothing. They have no evidence. Like when Sexy Lee is saying that, like, I saw defecation on the street and whatever. And I'm like, do you have a video? A TikTok video, perhaps? Right? Like, nothing. They're coming into the commission with zilch, with nothing. Don't give them anything. Everybody just needs to calm down and let this process go. It's annoying. It's obnoxious. It is what it is. Keith Wilson said that. He said, you're going to be bored. There's going to be narratives and whatever. And good. Let them dig their graves. When that shithead said, I don't speak English, you got to give me context in French, he just destroyed his reputation. Or the other one that was complaining, I couldn't order Uber Eats. I'm like, oh, wow, well, maybe they'll valet your Bentley around the front of your building as well. Like, that's how a lot of people look at Uber Eats, that it's some, upper middle class luxury, especially in other parts of the world. Like, you talk about privilege, doesn't get more privileged than that. Anyways. Report Paula Fletcher, what she did is illegal. Listen, she's a communist. She doesn't believe in laws. All she believes is in threats and intimidation of people. And I don't really care. She's a piece of shit. Sorry for my language today. I'm fired out of a cannon. And listen, I was in a truck all day yesterday and talking to people on the CB. And, you know, trucking life's a little bit different than the corporate life, sort of, you know, it was awesome. Let me be clear. Let me put this up. Alyssa, by the way, thank you for all the comments. Everybody, thank you so much. Let me be clear. We had Canadians' backs. That's what we should expect from that clown. Yeah, listen, it is what it's going to be. It's not going to change. It's just going to be more of the same over and over again. But you can tell already they've got nothing. They have zilch, zero. And, you know, what they'll do is they'll try to take some, and I'm sure you'll see this with the government representatives. They're going to try to take some text messages or communications and remove the context, and they'll try to project negative context on everything. They will be as uncharitable as possible to try to persuade the commission and people watching, right? The equivalent of saying to a friend, oh man, I'm going to kill you. Well, you do that to friends. At least I do with one of my buddies all the time. We joke all the time. They'll say, well, what does this mean? You use this word, because they're idiot bureaucrats who seem to forget how people function in the real world. This is what happens when the nerds take over the world. Sorry to all the nerds. I have some friends who are nerds, especially in Bitcoin, but like, you shouldn't be running governments. I love you all, but you shouldn't be running governments. Kathy says a total clown show. And, okay, so let me just see if there's anything. Okay, thank you for, Wendy. Thank you, Wendy, for coming. Wendy sends a kiss and lips to everybody. And, Wendy, we appreciate the love and support. And now we got a bunch of, communication between all of you guys. So, okay, the last thing, and then I'm going to go because I got to go see John and talk about, well, the book is finished, but talk about kind of the launch and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, she's a government worker. Yeah, but she also, remember, what I said before, and I understand how media is not covering this, or, well, I understand how media is covering it, of course, but even alternative media. She founded an NGO, one of these racialized NGOs that just teaches people to be racist. Or at least that's how I interpret it. That's my opinion. And she got $157,000 from a cabinet member from Jolie to start this organization straight out of school. But she has nothing to do with the Liberal Party. Nothing. Like, honestly, like, I got to tell you, some of you have been watching me for a while. You know I've spent a lot of time in Latin America, in various countries in Latin America. And I do have a couple of friends that are involved in politics in Latin America. And how it works there is a little bit different. I should say it's very different, especially with certain narco governments. But oh my God, we are far more corrupt than Latin America. It's really quite pathetic what's happening to this country with our political class and the lobby firms that run our parties. And that's why all the parties look like the Uniparty, because it's run by lobby firms and corporate interests. And listen, I understand the importance of that, because we need corporations to be solvent, because people's pensions are in there. And if people are retiring or building forward for retirement, we need to have a stable stock market pension system. So I understand the motivations for it. But it gets a little bit ridiculous, and it gets a little bit insane at this point. All right, okay, now you guys are all flirting with each other. You know what? That's awesome. You know what? Our comment box is becoming like the spirit of the Freedom Convoy, which is amazing. So Beth says $23 million US, so closer to 25. Raised in 3 weeks. Yes, Canadians are and were fed up. These witnesses were City of Ottawa reps, not federal government employees. Yes, this is true. And you know what else is funny, which I'm going to explain in my testimony and give evidence for this, that the City of Ottawa and the Ottawa Police helped the trucks come into the city and helped us park and stage the trucks. And they did that not for an afternoon, not for a couple of hours, for an entire week. For an entire week, they were working with us, helping us to stage the trucks. I wasn't there. Chris was dealing with it. I was here in Ontario doing messaging. Tamara was on the road, and I was kind of communicating to one side, to the other, and whatever. But that's how it was working. So anyways, they're going to love my testimony. Thanks, David. You have an amazing weekend as well, buddy. We'll talk to you soon. And so, anyways, we're going to talk about all of this stuff moving forward and more of it. And I'm looking for your comments. And if you find stuff that's pertinent, because I'm doing so many things at once, send me a message on Getter or Twitter and say, hey, take a look at this. You should talk about this on the stream or whatever, like people were doing for me yesterday in the truck. Don't hesitate to send stuff. And I guess also on Facebook. Now people are realizing I'm kind of on Facebook. I don't use it very much, but I'm still there. But you can send me, not in a private message, just send me posts or something and tell me what's going on. And just, related to all of this, it's always that lingering question in the back of my head that we talk about from time to time here. And that is, who sabotaged the Freedom Convoy? Do you think that's going to come out in the commission? And do you think it should come out? Is it relevant? Because the number one thing that's most relevant is that Trudeau, or the Trudeau regime, violated constitutional law, maybe international law, I don't know, by invoking martial law as their first and only resort for a protest. Like, that's how ridiculous it is. And then froze everybody's accounts and everybody's assets, right? But, so we talked about, in the past, there's a couple of, I've given a little bit of hints to help you guys piece it all together and figure it out. Because I'm sure you'll figure it out on your own. And some of the people on Locals have already figured it out and have posted it. And I've been a little bit coy in saying that that's a very, very good guess. But so a couple of things just to review. First, we discussed, was it an individual or was it a group of people or various groups of people that were working from the inside, like directly face to face with us, trying to sabotage it? Was that one of the things? And then we discussed, can one individual destroy the reputation of an organization, right? And I gave an example when I brought it up a few weeks ago, but here's another example. In the analogy or the example I gave with PayPal, if the terms of service was just thrown in there by one lawyer who redrafted the terms of service, included it, and then everybody else ignored it, well, there you go. One person just destroyed the value of PayPal, which, how much did it go down yesterday? By like 60% or something? Somebody told me? Like a significant percentage. And that was one person who was on the inside who had special access to things. So was that possible in the Freedom Convoy? And then the other thing I laid out was follow the money. Where's the money now, right? Because all the money that was raised by the Freedom Convoy is in an escrow account, right? Pending the outcome of Sexy Lee's class action suit. You like how they call her Sexy Lee? That's what she wants to be, right? she wants to capitalize on erotic equity. I'm just trying to help her. So, the next thing is follow the money. So the Freedom Convoy the Freedom Convoy hasn't raised any money. Apparently they've been told they can't raise money, which is crazy to me, but okay. So where's the money? Who's raising money now? Where's all the money going? I don't know. Is it various entities? Which it very much could be. So follow the money was the next thing. And then who stood to gain the most politically other than Trudeau? Right? Who was going to gain from that? Because there are a bunch of other people in the political sphere that would have gained by ending and terminating this protest. So who else was it? And then the other thing I'm going to explain today, something to consider, I was on a Twitter stream the other day, we're talking about kind of the billionaire class, and at the billionaire class at the WF, and they're all conspiring. And listen, the WF's a piece of hot garbage. Believe me, I don't like Klaus. I get that. But the billionaire class is not a class. Like, they hate each other, right? So many of them hate each other. Like, Elon Musk is a billionaire. Bill Gates is a billionaire. And they famously dislike each other. So it's not like they work as a cabal. And I would argue that the political class is the same way. So was it one group trying to sabotage the Freedom Convoy? Or were there competing groups competing with each other, both trying to, or more than two, maybe three or four, that were all trying to sabotage the Freedom Convoy right in front of our faces. And it's just, when it's going on, you got to be able to sit back and, I don't know, write a book and put all these pieces together and then try to figure it out. And by the way, not that this is entirely, the book itself is not political, mildly political, but it's just a beautiful story of everybody's stories, or many of the stories of what went on from the very beginning to the very end. I promise you're all going to like it. Okay, so Big Mama doesn't like Paula Fletcher, and Big Mama, I love you for that. She's using public funds and time to target, harass taxpayers. Yeah, like always. This is what the communists do. That's all they do. You think they improve the neighborhood? I mean, Danforth's turned into complete crap because of people like her, right? Okay, next, Howard. By the way, thank you Howard for your great questions. Hard questions can be asked and asked over and over until answered. If the witnesses are under oath, if answering is deflected or evasive, that is in itself an answer, and that's the point. So that's what I'm trying to explain about that idiot who works for the government says, oh, you're going to have to contextualize it in French. Like you're just saying, I don't want to answer the question. That's it. That's it. Ruins all his credibility. Big Mama, yeah, well, I can't say that publicly. That's an assertion, but I think you're onto something. Kathy, I got money from the first donation to the convoy. Yeah, some people did, some people, well, the first one, actually both. Some people got donations back, some people didn't. And this is how it worked. With GoFundMe, they transferred, I think, $1.4 million to Tamara's account. I remember I'm like, don't do that. Not to her, but to people around. Like, we've got to set up a structure. But, of course, they didn't listen. And then it got blocked by TD. And it was $1 or $1.4 million, something like that. So the rest of it was returned by GoFundMe, and some of it made it through and was seized and is put in escrow. And the same thing for Give, Send, Go. So a few $1 million, a couple $1 million got through, and it's in escrow. And that's where everything is now. So if you got money back, it's because you donated before it was, like in the case of Give, Send, Go, before Doug Ford sought the injunction to block the money from the truckers. If you donated after that, then you would have gotten your money returned to you. That's at least from what is communicated to me. I wasn't treasurer on the board. I had too many other things to deal with and didn't want to deal with money. It wasn't my money, didn't really care about it, wanted to go to the truckers, and that's it. And Kathy says the person who stands to benefit Ford. Oh, well, that's very good. That is a very good answer. You're very, very warm, and that is definitely part of it, for sure. And I would respond with, not just Ford, but yeah, Ford definitely benefited from this protest ending, because there was the protest on the Ambassador Bridge, which didn't have anything to do with us, but, God bless him. Go ahead. And so benefited him because his poll numbers were slipping because people were starting to realize he's completely useless. Jim Watson, Jim Watson is a Trudeau slave, apparently. Does whatever Trudeau says, and whatever. He's so useless, all of these people. Okay, so I got to run. I'm going to be late because I got to be there in, in 6 minutes. BJdichter.substack.com, honkingforfreedom.locals.com. That still remains relevant for getting tickets. We just got to figure out what venue we're going to do. We do have some options. And so we will be moving forward with something. So if you want to get a ticket and get an email invite to tickets once we get this all sorted out, then first join honkingforfreedoms.local.com. You can join here with Kiss Junkie and Beth and the few hundred other people who are in there. And I will be doing locals exclusive content at some point, and that might be relevant to the commission moving forward. I have a couple of ideas. I hope you all have an amazing day. And I don't know about you, but yesterday, the tips, the message that I got about the convoy, the EMAC, and when I went to watch it, they put such a smile on my face. I loved it. I thought it was like the best piece of comedy I have seen in years. and it just brightened up my day. And it should do the same for you. This shouldn't be something that's frustrating you. It should be something that's making you laugh, that they're all scrambling because they've screwed themselves, and Trudeau has screwed all of them, and none of them know what to do at this point. And it's great. And I think this is going to continue. Be good to people. Be nice to strangers today as much as you could, much like we tried to do during the convoy. That was the spirit. Some people who like Sexy Lee, whatever her name is, would come by and yell, F you to the truckers. People would say, have a good day, and love you. We just love you, and that's it. Saw a bunch of that. And just continue with that spirit. That's the only way we're going to win and get things back. What's it called? Bev says, who asked the questions at the inquiry? If it's paid liberal, the hard questions will never be asked. Yeah, that's really what's interesting. It's people who have standing. I had some people kind of screw me out of getting standing, so or else my lawyer would have been able to cross-examine anybody who's lying. And so I submitted a late application for standing once I found out about it, because nobody told me about it. I submitted the late application for standing, and I was denied standing, which means my lawyer can't cross-examine the people that I would have said, ask him this question, ask him that question, ask him that question. So I'm just going to have to answer it in my testimony, whether people like it or not. And that's how I'm going to go forward. So it's all going to be amazing. It's going to be lots of fun. Sonia, you said it best. I got to put this on the screen. I love it. Peace and love to all. Honk honk. And I would add a hashtag honk honk in that. Okay, I will be talking to you all soon. I will see you in the morning tomorrow.